Good morning, welcome to Morning Review. This is Kim speaking on Thursday, the 6th of April. So, looking at the euro dollar first, and we're just stuck in this consolidated mess really at the moment. It's making it quite difficult. Expectation of still potential. Let me just expand this more recent movement here a little. Still got the potential for it to run up towards that weekly pivot, but as the week draws through, that looks less likely. Although there's some movement overnight where we've seen some sort of the Fed minutes haven't really helped the market too much, and well, it looks like Trump may have problems getting his tax changes through. So, all in all, an uncertain markets, equity markets certainly, and what we're seeing here is, well, very little movement, but there is the possibility come tomorrow with non-farms that we could see the euro shoot one way or the other, and it really does seem to be one way or the other now. It's consolidating here. The longer it sits here, the less obvious it may seem in terms of price action, although the original thoughts of the downside there is still partially with me, but we put this extra sort of divergency move coming in with yesterday's low there. Now, whether we will see a break, and any break to the upside beyond this monthly pivot, I'm going to be bullish towards the weekly pivot. That 4 hourly 50 seem reasonable areas to be targeting. For this downside though, well, still just watch any break below the daily pivot there. I don't think it's quite been clipped yet. Any break below that may give us an opportunity back down to the towards the S1. Pivot's a little bit wider, marginally wider today, but still very tight range here. Okay, so euro dollar to pound dollar. Not a lot easier to read, that's for sure. From a daily perspective, yesterday, the good data, it came out in the morning, seen as bounce, take the bounce off the monthly pivot, pushing back towards that weekly pivot, which I would add has already been hit. Just consolidating around this phase, and you sort of look at this 4 hourly, and we rarely see, I say rarely see, we've seen it twice this month, but generally the 4 hour sessions, they've had a little bit more oomph in them lately, but we're just seeing the markets chop and a very sideward price action. From an hourly movement here, you can see it clearer, just these long periods of quite tight ranges, and we got the potential for it to pop down at the moment, down maybe back towards that daily pivot would be a short-term possibility, but the ranges of this market certainly seems to be reducing. So tight one this morning again. I was looking at the sort of the bigger trend line, that's going across there in terms of potential for price to move towards it, and still along with that R1 sort of zone, there is that chance if the cable starts pushing up to move towards that area. But with an untouched daily pivot at the moment, rather see that hit and then take a judgment from that sort of point. Looking at news, there's absolutely no news that's likely to create much in the way of volatility today to affect either of these markets I've looked at so far. Now, looking at the dollar yen, well, it's not really showing much of a hand either. It's, I mean, at least we're seeing this right the way across the market. We're seeing some sort of spikes, but in the main, it's still easing its way southwards, but very marginally. It's not a easy one to read. In fact, looking through this sort of 4 hour session, it hasn't broken the lows from last week there yet. Let's just move through, and the hourly as well. We've got an untouched daily pivot above that may be a target this morning. Certainly a possibility for a push up towards that sort of zone, sort of more bullish candle potentially to finish here. Of course, back into the maze of the 60-21s if we do start heading up there, but there is the possibility for run through onto that. Still no clear movement or direction on this yen. I mean, it's I think we can only look for range-based trading at the moment. Aussie dollar, bigger picture. Well, it's slightly eased off. It's broken the lows of Tuesday there. Yesterday it was a pretty nil day with the doji. Broken the lows, broken that 200. Maybe it's going to slip down towards the monthly S1 now. Just not moving particularly good. Sorry, it's broken the initial Gartley pattern here, but there was always a chance it may push on a little bit further. There is a Gartley pattern on the bigger picture, which it's say it's broken through, but well, we may see a bit more of a bounce off this. It's not particularly clear when you daily pivot, I think, has been pretty much hit on that bar there. Yep. So the daily pivot's hit, so there's not much of a target, but we've had a bit of divergence on the alleys here. Short term, it could push back towards those sort of areas, but in terms of what it's done, intraday I wouldn't be trying to trade it anyway. It's done pretty much everything. It's hit the pivot S1, S2. Range is very, very tight. Not a currency that's of interest to me at the moment. Canadian dollar. We've seen oil, and I was just flicking to the oil price there. Just briefly, you see oil just rallied and slipped back yesterday, although it's looking like it may try and push up again today. But it's sitting in a constant point. In fact, the fact that it's become a constant is a bit of a pain for the Canadian dollar, because it was more likely just to carry on chopping along like we've seen. Now, yesterday, well, it's still pretty much within the range of the previous day, and I could see this sort of price action continue for some time at this rate. With the euros going sideways, the pound going sideways, there's no great surprise to see the Canadian dollar going pretty much sideways. Looking at, well, here from this point, there is the potential for a bit more continuation in terms of how this pattern's looking here, but nothing particularly clear. Untouched daily pivot below, well, maybe a big enough draw just to see price come down and touch that, but there's so little in terms of, well, it's about 20 pips back down, so there may be, but there's a possibility. But all in all, it's these markets are very sideward chopping. It may help with non-farm payrolls. We're hoping it's going to help with non-farm payrolls today, but today I could see it being one of those days where you're going to be sitting on your hands. And remember, cash is a position. I'll leave you with that thought and have a great day. Bye for now.